FNAF's nightmare animatronics are something else. Being the scariest version of the animatronics was already a feat, especially after the disappointment the community had with FNAF 3, but sometimes being the scariest isn't enough, and you know what? In this community, that's the case. Some fans take to DeviantArt, Reddit, and Amino, and then they create unholy abominations that are going to cause me to cry for the rest of my life. And you know what? Those beautiful monstrosities that I didn't have time for are what we're exploring today. But before we get into this list, I'd like to take a second to thank our sponsors, NordVPN. If you're somehow unaware, NordVPN is a virtual private network that gives you extra protection when you're on public or even private Wi-Fi by encrypting your activity through another server anywhere in the world, which means that you can access region-locked shows and games as well. You want to watch Rick and Morty on Netflix? Boom, I'm in the UK. Are you unable to access FNAF Security Breach? Well, using NordVPN, you can actually access Security Breach on the PlayStation Store without needing a new account. And now with their new threat protection, your computer is protected from dangerous websites, malicious downloads containing viruses, and it blocks trackers and intrusive ads. NordVPN isn't just a VPN anymore. Plus, they're giving you guys a sweet deal for a 2-year plan with a huge discount plus 1 additional month for free. With their 30-day money-back guarantee, what do you really have to lose? Use the link in the description below or go to nordvpn.com/top10gaming to claim this insane offer, and thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Alright, let's do it. In 10, Dismantled Fredbear. Dismantled Fredbear is an antagonist and the main attraction in the fan game Fredbear's Fright. Dismantled Fredbear appears to be a slightly withered version of Fredbear from the main FNAF games, but Fredbear's appearance this time is similar to that of like a dismantled spring Bonnie, although with a purple hat and tie and like a darker brown color for his suit. Due to being a Springlock character, he also has 5 fingers on each hand, but he only has 4 toes on each foot. His right eye is broken and it hangs half open, and his suit is covering his extremities, and it seems to have a bit of scattered holes, which is concerning, okay? There are also presumably blood stains on his teeth, and this could possibly be due to the bite of 83 that we see take place in FNAF 4, which presumably causes the Springlocks to get discontinued and deemed unfit for employees. Maybe, I don't know, maybe in this universe that's the case, but you know what, yeah. Let's move on. In at 9, Human Nightmare Fredbear. Human versions of animatronics always set me on edge. I get worried whenever I look these up because from what I've seen, I also start to get weird ads, which is why I always look these up using the Top 10 Gaming account. Haha, I've seen some weird shit, man, okay? Reddit is a scary place. Aside from all the horrific things I've seen, Human Nightmare Fredbear is a very Joker-esque kind of design. Some versions of the character are more focused on like that nightmare aesthetic, while some are more focused on the human normal Fredbear, but no matter what, it's always unsettling. Just human versions of animatronics are creepy. And based on the fact that this could in theory be possible in the FNAF universe, which you'd know, there's a whole other story, okay? But like the idea that this could be possible sets me on edge and really gives me trust issues, okay? Whenever someone starts acting different, I'm worried they're an animatronic. Yeah, no, that's not what I'm worried about. In 8, Fixed Nightmare Fredbear. Fixed Nightmare Fredbear is something that I never wanted to see. For some reason, he reminds me of my uncle if he was like a yellow animatronic robot bear, and like not in an insulting way. I can't really put my finger on it, but like that's just how I feel, okay? Anyway, Repaired Nightmare Fredbear is what you'd expect, unless it's the one that's like covered in band-aids and paper. That one is actually pretty funny. However, it had to be Fixed Nightmare Fredbear because Fixed Fredbear is just a slightly darker golden Freddy that's a bit taller, and I don't really know what it is about these repaired animatronics that makes them so creepy, but like maybe it's the fact that they're more realistic, or that in theory they could again exist. I mean, going by the many worlds theory, there is a world where FNAF is real, and then there is a world where each FNAF fan game is real, and then there's a world where I'm personally fighting William Afton, and there's also another world where I am William Afton. But you know what? None of these are this world, yet I still find these repaired animatronics to be creepy as hell, so there we go. And at 7, Bearlock. Bearlock is kind of similar to Fred Trap, okay? In essence, this is just a FNAF what if, where William was using the Spring Freddy suit to kill people instead of the Spring Bonnie suit. The same ideas that were applied to Spring Trap in this case are just applied to Bearlock, and thank you to the comments who have also like sent me this idea on Twitter that I needed this. Thank you. Those are really useful when I'm making lists like these, okay? Because I can't look up everything. Bearlock though is withering due to age, and I'm also guessing flesh because you know it was combined into the suit, so there are exposed sections of that flesh and muscle across the various regions, with some versions having more exposed flesh than others, but they all have good old Willie A inside, constantly screaming in pain because that's what he deserves. These versions, however, however, I feel are more gruesome than Springtrap, but probably because we don't really have a limit with how far we'll go with these characters, because we don't actually have to sell games with them. Because, like, yeah, I mean, like, Scott probably wanted to make it a little more family, kid-friendly-ish, you know? And at 6, realistic Fredbear. Now, looking up realistic Fredbear, it will not really yield this result on Google Images. This one I found using the keyword of stylized Fredbear. But after looking at this bear and the big blue house wannabe, I felt realistic Fredbear was the best name for it. Created as a commission by DeviantArt user Trike Vingang Studio, this perfectly describes my worst nightmares come to life, okay? No joke. I had a dream where I was like on a date with this girl, but then I go to take a shower, then when I was done, I get dressed and I ask her what animatronic head I should wear, which is at the point that I then reveal to her and myself that I am part animatronic. That's no joke, that's actually a dream I had, okay? And this thing just makes me feel like that would actually happen in my life. I don't know. It's a furry animatronic that's absolutely terrifying in the worst way. So please, for the love of God, stop making realistic animatronics or I will actually start puking. Alright, thank you. Halfway through into number 5, Dark Nightmare Fredbear. Dark Nightmare Fredbear is an interesting character since they aren't meant to be a shadow animatronic like Shadow Fredbear, but they're a purple version of the animatronic with additional withering and just a more horrific appearance. Some look like they should be Shadow Nightmare Freddy, but Dark Nightmare Freddy is just, it's a badass name and I love it, okay? With glowing eyes and teeth and the nightmare aesthetic being cranked up to an 11, this guy is surely going to haunt my dreams even more than FNAF already does. I'm not kidding, okay? Like I just said, I had a dream where I was part animatronic. FNAF is taking over my life, okay? I also had a dream that I joined the Yogscast, but that's a separate thing. God, I really hope that Multiverse of Madness isn't right, or at least for the first one. But you know what? Even in that Yogscast dream, I still couldn't get away from FNAF because my TTT skin was Toy Chica. Yeah, that's right. And then during the Jingle Jam, they made me play FNAF VR. This is not okay, alright? They even recreated FNAF scenes with a skit where the purple guy wasn't William Afton, but instead the Bristol Poacher. I'm telling you, FNAF has invaded every aspect of my life, but honestly, I'd still be down to do that if they wanted to have me on for some videos. But even that, I mean, still, okay, this doesn't help that process in my brain, all right? No thanks. And at 4, Demented Fredbear. Now it could be my search history, however when looking up the word demented on Google Images, the first thing that was recommended was actually Demented Fredbear, and looking at it, I can see why. Demented Fredbear is what Nightmare Fredbear should have been in my opinion. The exterior isn't as torn up on the torso, but instead it kept the tearing mostly at the joints and extremities, and overall, its appearance just seems to be more aggressive and bloodthirsty. Some iterations of this character even have tongues coming out of both mouths, like the one on the stomach. Like the mouth on the face, and then the famous stomach mouth also has the tongue, which is horrifying. Demented Fredbear's nails are also extremely long and very sharp, because of course they are, easily being able to tear through flesh or dig back down to the pits of hell from which it came. This is actually extremely well made. And I actually moved it up from its original position. It was at number 6, but I felt that number 4 was more realistic, okay? Even if the realistic Fredbear is pretty damn horrifying, but for a completely different reason. Getting close to the end, and number 3, Twisted Nightmare. The Twisted animatronics are probably the most horrific animatronics ever described. These buggers are disgusting and horrific and are only approachable when using illusion discs to make themselves look presentable, like me in the mornings. Combine that with Nightmare, who is the scariest animatronic from the games, and oh my god, you have one hell of a beast. Twisted Nightmare is everything you want to avoid when creating something for kids. I can hardly put it into words, honestly, okay? I'm glad that there's pictures that can be shown because I don't know how to even start trying to describe this. I guess it's like if Hell's Gates had opened and then released the entirety of FNAF lore into real life, and then the Joy of Creation animatronics also came out, including not just the ones from the game, but literally every other animatronic from the series in an ignited form. Yeah, and then they all merged into one and then became a twisted one. That's how this demonic monstrosity would have been created, okay? It's wrong, I feel deceived, and I can actually feel physical pain in my gut, although that might also just be the sunburn. But ultimately, in at number 2, Withered Nightmare Fredbear. I'm honestly surprised that I didn't include this in the last part, but you know what? Withered Nightmare Fredbear is one of the most horrific Fredbear versions I've seen. The animatronic already looked pretty withered, but take away the limits of the nightmare aesthetic and then boom, you have yourself some actual literal nightmare fuel, ironically enough. One version even like fixed the character, but still managed to make them even more horrifying than the original, with an extended jaw, like a missing jaw, or even like missing just chunks of the entire body. Wizard Nightmare Fredbear makes me glad FNAF VR doesn't have mods other than full bright mode, although it probably does. I've just been ignoring them. Okay, I wonder how easy a full bright mode playthrough of the game would have been. I mean, it wouldn't really be scary since that's the whole point of the game, but I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it would have been way too easy. Maybe I should play through. No, I'm not playing through it. Okay, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching this. I don't want it to happen. And finally, in at number 1, Twisted Fredbear. Twisted Fredbear, instead of Twisted Nightmare, has to be one of the worst creations known to man. Not in like a so bad it's scary kind of way, but like in a, like, oh my god, what twisted mind could have created this unholy monster from the deepest pits of hell kind of way. It's like the 19th circle of hell was just like, yeah, no, you're too scary, get back up there. Twisted Fredbear takes everything that makes the twisted animatronics scary, then adds them to Nightmare Fredbear, then cranks it up to 27. From boils all over to extra sharp teeth and claws, like some even have a tongue coming out of the stomach mouth again, but like an actual like human tongue, okay, and like not like a long squiggly one. It's messed up. Some people made the joints have teeth, which is a whole other can of worms, and these just make me want to crawl into a hole and cry, okay? I'm horrified by just the sheer amount of creativity that will come out of the FNAF community, okay? We need like a community pot money for therapy, because like there's clearly something that a lot of us have in common that we aren't really working through. And you know what? I feel like if I ever start therapy, my therapist is gonna look at all these videos and then say, yeah, no, I can't help you. But at least if I find one online, I'll be safe thanks to NordVPN. Thank you for sponsoring this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been in Shaw Ray Monroe, and I'll see you in another video because NordVPN is gonna keep me safe. Aha.